Welcome to part 2 of the podcast. This is the soup du jour.
What's the soup du jour?
Well, it's the soup of the day.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
Well, funny enough, actually, when I went to, I guess Anaheim and Vegas, we went to this diner, and I almost wanted to do it because it's like you can have a choice of half sandwich and the soup of the day. And I was like, am I gonna order it just so I can ask?
And then just start laughing maniacally.
Yeah. Excuse me, Flo. I would have been dying.
Shoot.
No, but I didn't order that.
Oh, you didn't get soup. Oh, it's probably because it was like 1,000 degrees down there.
Oh yeah. It was way too hot to get soup.
Oh,
Anyway,
shoot.
speaking of the soup du jour, we're going into our topic today, which is top 5 dystopian films. And I don't know how you interpret dystopian, you know. I'm curious to know. For me, I put a little bit of caveats on my list, but I'm not gonna let you go first, Ken, because
I
I'm
mean,
very
I feel
curious.
like I also had to look up dystopian just because you hear it usually associated with post-apocalyptic stuff. But I just went with straight the whatever the dictionary version of that is, and when I Google dystopian it says, and I'm quoting Google here, not sponsored by Google, of relating to or being an imagined world or society in which people lead dehumanized, fearful lives.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Pretty general.
Yeah, very general. Um, there was a movie that I purposely left off, and I was like, "Huh." I saw it on multiple lists, but I don't know if consider this movie to be dystopian. I'll reveal what that movie is after your list because we'll go through mine, we'll go through yours,
Okay.
and then we'll comment with everything else after. So, um, for my top 5 dystopian films, I actually have 2 honorable mentions, only
Okay.
because in part 1 we did talk about A Quiet Place, day 1. I almost said part 1, but yes, part 1. A Quiet Place 2018 is actually one of my honorable mentions, and the second honorable mention is Hunger Games.
Oh.
Both movies I will try to watch, like, if it's streaming, just because they are that good. We talked about how for A Quiet Place, we just grew very invested in John Krasinski's character and Emily Blunt's character as the parents. And again, tragedy strikes
Yeah.
very early on. We won't specify what happens in that movie. But from then on, the suspense builds, and I don't know, just the premise of using silence just as a way to build suspense is just, I thought it was revolutionary back in 2018, and I think it still has its place. I think it's very effective when you don't hear anything going on, and I don't know, it's just unnatural. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It is kind of weird when I was trying to eat my popcorn in the movie theater.
Felt like I was making too much noise with all the and
Yeah. Yeah. I
but yeah,
can't
I also
imagine the first one.
right. I don't remember. I don't think I ate anything. Luckily, in the first Quiet Place in the movie theater, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I would have been very, I don't know, just self conscious about eating something that was noisy.
Mm.
Anyway, the other honorable mention, I mentioned Hunger Games. I think it's still one of the better franchises. I think the first 2 are still better than Mockingjay. I think it didn't need to be stretched out. I felt like if they would have just stuck to one movie per book, it would have played much better. But they went for the cash grab, and I felt like it was a crash grab. But
Oh, dang.
but the first Hunger Games, I actually like the second one better, but I feel like Hunger Games was more dystopian. It's
I
more
see.
natural. Yeah. So that's why I went with Hunger Games 2012 as my honorable mention. So officially, here's my top 5. Last week we talked about, actually, sorry, not last week, 2 weeks ago, last
It's like
episode, we talked
Inside
about,
Out.
yeah, we talked about Pixar movies. I didn't have this in my draft or in my, I don't know if I had it in my Keep 5 top 5, Keep 5 cut 5. It wasn't one of my movies, but Wall-E, very good movie.
Mhm.
I love that movie. I feel like it might be bordering as underrated, but whenever I see it in a lot of people's, it does get its just due, and rightfully so. It's such a good movie. Um, kind of a, I don't know. It gave me, what's that Tom Hanks movie?
Tom
Survive.
Hanks.
Yeah, the
Oh,
one where
Castaway.
he's Castaway. It gave me those vibes because
Yeah.
for large portions it was just Wall-E.
Yeah, which is honestly like probably the best parts of the movie too.
I think so too. I think
Not
so
saying the other
too.
parts are bad, but it's like that part is just like
Yeah.
something cathartic about him just cleaning up trash.
Either.
So good.
So good. Number 4. Jeremy will think this is too low. I'm going Total Recall.
Oh, damn it.
I know.
Number 4.
Yeah, I know it's too low. I know. I'm glad we got to watch it in the midst of a pandemic because we did our 30th anniversary screening in theaters.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to do that. We risked our lives for Total Recall for Arnold. But hey, I enjoyed it on the big screen because I was still too young I wasn't really watching movies in theaters yet. It wasn't a thing, well, in my family back then, but Total Recall, still to this day, it has aged pretty well for it being Arnold and a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in that movie, but I feel like that's what, there's a lot of character in that.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to pick that as my Dystopian Arnold installment. So, it could be arguably too low, but that's where I have it. Total Recall number 4. Number 3, I think one of our last lists, I mentioned a Tom Cruise movie, and I'm going to mention another one, Minority Report.
Ooh.
I love this movie. It's with Colin Farrell when he was just bursting onto the scene, and so that was such an amazing futuristic like concept. To this day, when we got the whole Apple Vision Pro like reveal earlier this year, yet probably tanked. There's probably no real world applications yet, but it still was being compared to a movie that came out 20 plus years ago, Minority Report 2002. That's how ahead of its time it was with the whole precogs and everything. It's such a good movie.
Oh, dude, the scene where he gets his eyes replaced still like every time scares me every time.
Yeah, and the scene right before it when the guy sneezes and a bunch of snot comes out, that still scares me too. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway,
Yeah.
number 2, the original, The Matrix, 1999. My God, this movie was so ahead of its time. I remember doing a rewatch when we covered the latest Matrix a few seasons ago. It's still easily the best one. And it's still a classic. I don't think this thing will ever age badly. It's such a good movie. I think this is the movie that put Keanu in legendary status. So
I believe that. It just like solidified.
yes,
Like, oh yeah, there it is.
this guy, and then obviously John Wick, just
It's like
up through the stratosphere.
Yeah.
Number 1 for me. Here's my hint to you, Jeremy. There's Blight, and all we're left is corn.
Oh man.
Yeah, I have Interstellar, and I'm looking forward to watching this later this year in IMAX when it gets re-released because it's 10 years already. Holy crap! Where does the time go?
10 years. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
I haven't ran recently, but when I was really regularly running, I was running a lot to Hans Zimmer and some other composers, and yes, I was running to Cornfield Chase. Sorry,
Chase, yeah.
Cornfield Chase. I was like, oh, here we go. But yeah, no, I love Interstellar. It's such a good movie, and when the reveal that Michael Caine was a villain, I was like, oh my god. What
Michael
the
Caine, what
hell?
have you done?
Sir Michael Caine. I can't understand what you're saying. I need
Subtitles.
I need subtitles. But yes, so good. So good.
Okay, cool. Dude, like I also thought about a lot of the movies that you put on your list,
Mm.
but I'm gonna tell you right now, not all of them are on my list.
Oh, I like it. And that's how I would prefer it. I want to see some variety. It'd be
Right.
boring if it was the same list, but just maybe shuffled a little.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. For mine, what I try to do is not have first, not have Terminator,
I
not
was
have
thinking about that
RoboCop.
too.
Right?
Oh
No,
man.
no Terminator, no RoboCop. I'm setting some guidelines for myself.
You didn't want to do a top 5 Arnold Schwarzenegger list.
And then nothing from either of those franchises, and no Dread. I think I mentioned that movie
Oh
way too
yeah,
many
I
times.
saw that on a list. I was like, is he gonna do it again?
Exactly. So I do agree with a lot of your movies too, but I feel like okay, like Matrix, of course. So I'm gonna go a little like deeper, and then from that smaller pool of kind of unsung heroes in terms of films, rank those.
Okay, I like it.
I have two honorable mentions. Maze Runner,
Ooh,
kind of like
okay.
you and the Hunger Games.
Yeah,
That YA genre.
yeah.
Yeah, Maze Runner, not the first one specifically. That was another good one.
I
And
think that
also,
that first one was the best one. I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go another honorable mention. Ready Player One. I enjoyed it a lot.
I forgot about that movie. That's so good too. Shoot, that's a good pull. I like that.
So another Steven Spielberg movie on my list or
Hmm.
honorable mention. But here's my real list. At number 5, Equilibrium
Oh,
with
okay.
Christian Bale.
Okay.
It's that era of like just gunfights, trying to copy the Matrix a little bit, but in this other kind of dystopian Fahrenheit 451 type of storyline.
Mm.
I am going to go with number 4. It's a Tom Cruise movie, but not Minority Report. It's Oblivion.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
feel like with these movies that I'm picking ones that it's like, oh, if I'm in the mood for just specifically dystopian, Oblivion kind of scratches that itch also. Similar to Wally, where he's just by himself for majority of the movie.
Yeah.
Of course, he runs into Morgan Freeman later, but yeah, just him being kind of by himself gets that.
I like
gets
that.
that.
I like it.
And to continue that theme, at number 3, I Am Legend. Will Smith. I feel like that's another one where something's just cathartic about seeing Will Smith and his dog, which similarly to Quiet Place Day One, where they have a cat. I feel like they could have took some cues from I Am Legend from that dog.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to spoil anything for those who are just jumping
Yeah.
in now.
Yeah, he's referring to Sam and Frodo, not
Yes.
from Lord of the Rings, but from A Quiet Place. Day one.
Day One. Yep.
Yeah.
And at number 2, I am going with Snowpiercer.
Oh yeah. I need to still watch that.
See, that's been on my list to show you since
Yeah.
season 1.
Yeah, I
But, watch
purposely
it.
have not seen it just because. Prior to this season, we've been, reserving those fill-in weeks to. Okay, I'll share a movie with you, and you share a movie with me. So it just never came about.
Oh, you have my blessing now, man. You gotta watch
Yeah.
that one of
Yeah.
these days. You'll like it.
I will in our off season. Well, yeah, in our off season, we'll reveal that again of some projects maybe on our finale. But yes, that is going to be on my list of movies to cover. And there's a whole premise of stuff that I want to reveal on season 7 finale later this month. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And at number 1, you have to give me this one, man. Total Recall. Ah,
See, I didn't want us to both go number one. Come on, man.
dude,
Because
Total Recall.
I was like, if there was a movie you were gonna put number one, that would have been it.
See, it wasn't Terminator, guys. But yeah, I was so glad that we watched it in theaters. I remember both of us being pretty tired.
Yeah.
But going in, it's like, oh, we gotta enjoy this movie, man. It's freaking Arnold, young Arnold on the big screen. But still a good movie, man. And all like the best one-liners in that movie.
Yeah. Twists and turns. Sharon Stone, an agent. Oh, so good.
Exactly.
You know, Colin Farrell too. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like when you know that Colin Farrell couldn't like outplay Arnold, it's like that's when you know your movie's doomed, man.
Mm-hmm. I know. I'm really glad that we got to do that. And I don't know, like I feel like hopefully there's more Arnold movies that are gonna be on the horizon. Wait, are there any more anniversaries?
Anniversaries? Wait, what? It's the 40-year anniversary of Terminator.
Dude, are they gonna release that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I
mean,
would
they're making a Netflix Terminator.
I would totally watch that in theaters. I was still too young for.
Right.
I don't think it would have been appreciated if I watched that when I was 3.
Yeah. Especially the first one.
Yeah.
The
was like,
most
"Ah."
scary one.
I know. I feel like some of the visual effects probably haven't really aged as well as the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I eventually want to watch. If we can somehow watch Terminator 2 in 2031, is that the next?
Dude.
Or
It would be over.
yeah, so good.
I'm making time for that, dude. No matter what, I'll take a day off, call in sick.
Oh man, wait, that was in 91 when it came out, right?
Yeah, 91.
So 91,
For
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Unless they fast forwarded and do a 35 year in 2 years.
True. True. I was gonna say,
Come on, James Cameron.
Frick, man, that guy. Let it go back in theaters.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't do anything in 2021. That would have been 30 years.
Yeah. Well, James Cameron doesn't also release a lot of Blu-rays for his movies. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but this is theater box off. It'll increase his box office numbers. I mean, don't tell me he didn't just do that for Avatar a couple of years ago.
True.
I mean,
Avatar is like his favorite movie in the world, man. Like, it's not fair.
Why?
Terminator. Come on.
You should have been doing more Terminators or
Aliens.
another Titanic Part 2. I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
Rose's Revenge. Shoot. Wait, what else has James Cameron done?
He hasn't done that many movies, man, especially in the last 20 years.
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
Yeah.
What were some of the other movies that you kind of left off purposely?
Oh yeah,
Since
definitely.
we're talking about it.
I try to stay away from more of like the mainstream ones.
Yeah.
Like The Matrix. I didn't want to go either like anything from like Terminator or anything like that. Anything in the franchise. I almost was gonna be like, hey, I'm not choosing Terminator, but I'm choosing Terminator Salvation.
I purposely left off Terminator 2 for sure because I was like, do I want this to be number one?
I almost said Logan.
Oh, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Did you see that Truman Show was on multiple lists?
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like,
how was
dystopian?
Husband? Why'd you say it like that? Husband? Dystopian?
Exactly, though. But I was like, I mean, it's a good movie, but I wouldn't consider it Dystopian.
Yeah, I just found that very strange. I initially just had it on my list just in case I needed a sixth movie, but it
Mhm.
turns out I ended up with seven. So,
Looper, another movie that was on some
oh yeah.
lists.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I saw some other ones that were like pretty crazy.
Um. Well, I didn't want to mention Blade Runner for the 2049 for the 10 millionth time, and or Blade Runner, the first one, 1982.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, let's purposely leave this one off. That was that I forgot that was one of the ones that I had to purposely leave off.
I still need to see those movies.
Yeah. Now that I mentioned it. Damn it.
Yeah.
But not on
Absolutely.
TikTok. How about Elysium?
Oh, Elysium. I was almost gonna say District 9. If I
Oh
was
yeah,
gonna
I almost
pick
said
one.
that too. That was
Yeah.
actually on my cuts. If we had a top 10, it would have been on there.
Yeah, if I was gonna pick one of from Neil Blomkamp, it would have been District 9.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Uh oh, there's again we earlier this year we talked about Furiosa, but Mad Max Fury Road
Mm-hmm.
technically
Could have
dystopian.
been.
I left that off just because we already talked about it.
Yeah, I didn't want to rehash Mad Max stuff. But
Same.
yeah, it's up there.
I'm surprised you didn't mention The Running Man.
Oh yeah, I see that was another one where I'm like, I'm not gonna go. I guess that's one I thought of too. The Running
Yeah.
Man. It's freaking Hunger Games. Who needs the Hunger Games when you have the Running Man?
Oh shoot. Have you seen Alita? I saw it on the
Yeah.
list.
Oh yeah, that's right. So that was produced by James Cameron.
Yeah.
It's I think the first half of the movie. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm,
The
mm-hmm.
visuals are really good. That's
Yeah.
where it's like but the story, I don't know if it felt very satisfying by the end. But it's a good watch.
Ooh. How about an older movie like Escape from New York
I haven't seen it
or
actually.
Demolition Man, Sly Stallone?
Oh, see, I haven't seen that one either.
Oh.
Truman Show.
V for
Di-
Vendetta.
Another one I haven't seen. The
Mm.
Lane, Divergent. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Planet of the Apes.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess it would be what, Rise technically, or yeah, Rise, because that's
yeah.
when, spoiler alert, they die. Most of them anyway.
I saw X-Men Days of Future Past on a lot of lists too.
Oh yeah, I
I
saw
was like,
that
oh,
too.
that's weird.
Were you tempted to add it to one of your lists, or
Not too much. See, if that's considered like dystopian, why not like freaking Avengers Endgame? Oh,
true? Ooh, 12 Monkeys.
I have not heard of that.
It's starring our friend Brad Pitt.
Oh, Brad Pitt. Yeah, but I feel like we covered a lot of good ones. And for those who like we missed some, or we kind of just can't look at every movie on the list. So let us know if we missed anything, guys. Leave it
Yes.
down in the comments. But especially nowadays, I feel like there's so many dystopian movies. Okay, Ken, let's I remember you mentioned the simmer earlier. Did you want to mention what you wanted to say during the simmer?
Oh shoot, I forgot. I forgot what I was gonna say. What was I talking about?
That's a good question. I thought you I thought you wrote it down.
No, I think I was kind of vamping a little bit.
Shoot.
Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Was it about Axel F?
Was that about Axel F? No, may have been related to Quiet Play. Maybe we mentioned it already.
Huh. Okay. Huh.
I think it was. Was it the sim? I think it may have been Soup du Jour because I was like, oh, we'll mention the Quiet Place or whatever.
Huh.
But I do have something for the simmer actually, though.
Okay.
I mean, it's not what you were referring to earlier, but yeah, I
Yeah.
do remember saying that though. I think.
It's
Anyway,
okay. Maybe we'll come back.
yeah, must not have been that important, but anyway, I mean, there's a lot of TV shows that are out right now. I wanted to ask you, are you still caught up with The Acolyte?
I am still caught up with The Acolyte. I
Hmm.
watched yesterday's episode.
Okay. I was just kind of curious because really the thing that I kind of wanted to bring up, and it's been a while since we've kind of given recommendation. I know we have a dedicated one last thing segment that we'll get to, but I feel like for the simmer, I wanted to kind of bring up like, are there any like TV shows that you would just highly recommend that I should be watching like tonight? Like one of those where it's
Oh,
like the highest of
shoot.
recommendations that you know that I probably haven't seen yet. Um, just because I mentioned this because while you're thinking, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, Jeremy, watch House of the Dragon.
Is that one of
Because
your recommendations?
no, well, yeah, it's always been, just because I know that fantasy really isn't your thing or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But we've reached the part of the season 2. We're about to air episode 4. It's literally the reason why we have this show called House of the Dragon,
That's true.
because I think they've mentioned it on maybe some of the episodes that you've seen in Game of Thrones. I know you started or are in season 5, but you stopped. There may have already been mentions when they're talking about like just random stuff, kind of exposition, right?
Mm-hmm.
About Westerosi like history.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the reason for prequels and, obviously stories within the Game of Thrones universe, George R. R. Martin's universe. But the reason why House of the Dragon exists is this thing called the Dance of Dragons.
Okay.
And episode 4, this that will be airing this Sunday, is the episode title is The Dance of Dragons. And I'm already hearing rumblings that this could be one of the like groundbreaking monumental TV episodes of all time. Well, obviously, I
Really?
don't know if it's hyperbole or whatever. I'll figure that out when the time comes on Sunday night
Mm-hmm.
on Max, not sponsored. But uh all this to say, watch House of the
That's
Dragon. You don't have to watch Game of Thrones yet, man. It's a prequel. So
I know,
this is
right?
like a standalone show and you're only 13 episodes behind.
That's true. I'm still like catching up with so many other shows. It's
I
quite
know.
kind of crazy.
I know. But I get it. I get the hesitancy of finishing Game of Thrones because of the bad publicity, and rightfully so, of the writing and the awfulness of season 8.
Mm-hmm.
But House of the Dragon's been consistent so far. And it's a show I don't think it doesn't sound like it's going to like go on an extended run. I feel it's going to end after season 3.
Shoot, really?
Yeah, because it's all based off of one book.
Ah, okay. That makes
Where,
sense. As long as they don't like overstay their welcome.
Yeah, because I think when Game of Thrones was going for a while, it was one season per book, and
Mm-hmm.
then like there was a third book that was like gigantic, so they had to split that the season 3 and 4, and then the fifth book, sorry, the fourth and fifth book were like kind of like taking place during the same timeline, I hear. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what 4 and 5 kind of go into. So already season 6 of Game of Thrones was already mainly off book.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, so obviously House of the Dragon's based off Fire and Blood, and it's literally one book, and we're already in season 2. So I would be surprised if it goes beyond season 3.
Okay. Because out of all the shows that you've been recommending me recently, I think The Bear is probably my next one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like you know me, like I don't like watch too many like
Fantasy shows.
fantasy
Yeah.
shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
like Lord of the Rings or like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Even The Witcher I couldn't finish. So yeah, it's
Yes,
just
but
maybe like the genres like it's just like I don't know. Like I have to be really in the mood.
hmm.
Like when
Hmm.
I was watching Game of Thrones, though, I was watching a lot, and then
Really?
for some
Yeah.
reason I
How did you
just
get that far? Like
right, and then just stopped.
what was it that actually kept you going? I'm curious now. Now
Like
that you
the
mentioned it.
characters was like the character storylines. Just watching that like all play out and all that stuff. Each storyline was so good,
Hmm.
and then I think I just wanted to take a break at I think the end of season 4, and then never continued. Never picked up season 5.
Hmm.
I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, you really do have to kind of get prepared just because, again, the scope of everything. I will say, because we're watching a show that's based on House Targaryen, it's actually on a smaller scale a little bit. But in season 2, they're starting to kind of expand a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
beyond that. I mean, there are still some multiple houses, and you get some wink winks to like Game of Thrones because, obviously
Yeah.
connectivity, right? With previous generations of each House
I
Stark and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's also because of the reception of the last season
Hmm.
where it's like I want satisfying endings for all the storylines that were happening. And then to hear that that doesn't happen necessarily for all storylines, um it's like it's great. I don't want like a bad taste in my mouth. So I kind of just didn't continue.
If it helps, I'm actually starting to do some here and there rewatchings of Game of Thrones. I actually haven't gotten to the point where I did a complete rewatch from 1 to 8 ever.
Hmm.
So I'm starting that now. I'm like a couple episodes in season 1. This will probably take me for a while, but I'm kind of curious how if I feel like 7 to a lesser extent, but for sure in season 8, how if I feel like it's worse than, because I feel like I was kind to season 8, kinder than most people.
Hmm.
I feel like I'll probably hate season 8 more now that I've been disconnected from that world and
Shoot.
knowing how House of the Dragon's starting off pretty well again. It's I'm hoping they're not letting me down. I doubt it though, because again, I feel like it's just based off of one book. There's source material, and I
Hmm.
feel like they'll end it right then and there because they're about to do another Game of Thrones show in that's going to air early in 2025 about a completely different story.
Hmm. In terms of me recommending something for you, I feel like you've seen all like the best shows that I've also seen. Um, like I think my number one pick would have been like Reacher,
Hmm.
right? That
Yeah.
you finally got to watch. I'm like, yes, finally
I
watch.
mean, it could be something that you've mentioned multiple times, like Superman and Lois.
Dude, I was gonna say that. I was like, it's
Okay.
like, I was like, dude, if you don't want, if you feel like watching Superman again, but
Yeah.
don't want to just keep watching Smallville,
Okay. I
it's
will
like,
take you up on that. I have a couple of shows that I'm about to start or whatever, but they're quick. And I hope to share maybe that another one of those shows next week or whatever. But especially since we'll have like a one last week off in a couple weeks, I'll watch Superman and Lois, and because actually, that was like one of the catalysts of me asking this question because I was wondering if they were going to mention the show, because I was watching a lot of the James Gunn Superman like speculations, the set photos and everything. I feel like
yeah,
this is perfect for the simmer about how the photos of from that are happening. I was watching it, seeing all of this on TikTok, and because of that, I was seeing a lot more other Superman related stuff, Snyderverse stuff, even Brandon Routh stuff. But they also mentioned Superman and Lois. So I was kind of seeing some of the stuff, and I was like, huh, maybe I should start watching it.
Because honestly, people have been crapping on the new suit,
Yeah.
David Cornsweat's suit
Hmm.
for Superman. Honestly, it's not horrible, but for the fact that like it kind of looks like a TV show suit a little bit,
Hmm.
it's like but this is all set photos and all that stuff. But the Superman Lois suit also is like, oh, okay, it looks like a TV suit, but it looks still pretty cool.
I feel like in post they'll make it look better.
Yeah, same here. That's what I think too.
I feel like they wanted to make sure that it doesn't look like the Snyder one, because obviously, if you try to emulate something like that, especially with the strong fan base that Snyder has, I mean, it especially with the tone that James Gunn is going for, a more hopeful Superman, I
Hmm.
feel like he's trying to see if he could get it to an updated version of the Christopher Reeve Superman suit.
Yeah. See, I don't mind the red trunks on the outside. I don't. I think sometimes like the high collar looks a little weird,
Mhm.
and the way the cape attaches. But you know, as long as the story's good, people
Mhm.
are like nitpicking like the smallest things. But what I'm actually most concerned with all the set photos, we see a Green Lantern, we see Mr. Terrific, we see Hawk Girl, all there on set. I
Mhm.
think there was possibly even Peacemaker, I think, on set.
Mhm. Mhm.
Possibly, I have no idea. But I think what I'm most concerned with, it's gonna get crowded in the
Yeah.
movie.
Mhm.
Um, Either that or it's gonna feel like Black Adam. How with the Justice Society
Yeah.
was
There's a
just kind
lot.
of there.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the worst thing actually about
Yeah.
that movie. We know what the worst thing was. But yeah, they actually balanced the Justice Society pretty well
Pretty
in that
well.
movie,
Yeah.
considering that they're all brand new like characters
Uh,
and they're all superheroes. They actually did a pretty good job there.
yeah.
Hopefully they can do that in Superman.
I feel like that was like the best part of Black Adam. I feel like everyone probably crapped on it a little bit more than we did. Um, I mean, we did our fair share of crapping on it, but I feel like we both enjoyed certain characters, especially 007. It's pretty
Yeah.
good in that movie.
Yeah. Daniel Craig was so good.
I was thinking Sean Connery, but okay. No, but okay, Superman and Lois. I'll see if I can start it within the next several weeks, before the end of this season.
Yeah,
That way I
if I
could
were to
give you
pick
my
one.
that way I could give you like my initial thoughts on it, because I think we've talked about other shows that you've recommended. Obviously, I haven't started The Boys season 4 yet, but
Which honestly, now that I'm further into the season, I
mhm,
think you have to watch
watch Gen V. Yeah,
Gen V for sure.
yeah.
Okay.
So I will. Yeah. I'm trying to stay away from spoilers for The Boys, knowing that I have to watch a full season of Gen V first, and so that's why anything boys related, I've been trying to just purposely stay away, just because yeah, just want that. I have another show that I've started. I'm not even gonna mention it in this week's edition of the
Okay.
one last thing.
Yeah.
So I already have stuff reserved for that segment. Uh, the rest of the season, it's pretty crazy.
Okay. All right. So speaking of one last thing, what do you want to share for it?
I mean, you actually mentioned it, The Bear. They
Huh?
dropped season 3. Um, I'm oddly hearing complaints about season 3, and I get it. I won't get into specifics, but I won't even get into specifics on the speculation of why there is criticism. But all this to say, I binge watched, well, because I think they released a date early on last Wednesday, and then I was like, man, I don't have time to watch. So I just try to purposely stay away from spoilers. but it was originally going to come out on a Thursday. I ended up having more time to watch it on a Thursday because that's usually our hour screening time for watching movies. And I was like, all right, let's watch this. I watched 7 episodes in that first night, and then I just finished it the weekend. I
Nice.
hate being pressured to finish a season that quick.
Yeah.
I felt like I haven't really fully digested season 3, but
No pun intended.
yes, no pun intended, but I enjoyed season 3. You could tell they're setting some stuff up for season 4. It already got greenlit season 4, so season 4 is definitely happening. But I thought the anxiety levels were still there, and you like fully in on all of the characters that were established in the first couple seasons of The Bear. So I thought it was a really good season of television. It was so good. I was just sweating bullets throughout
Yeah.
those 10 episodes.
All right. Okay.
So if you are going to start one and you don't want to pick
House
House of the Dragon, if you watch The Bear, just so that we could talk about it,
Yeah.
not necessarily on this podcast, but at least offline, I want to hear your thoughts on what you think, because everyone's praising the first 2 seasons as as 2 of the best seasons of television history.
Damn.
And maybe because it got so much love after those first 2 seasons, maybe the expectations are just through the roof for season 3, and that's why people are kind of crapping on it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the critic score is still really high on Rotten Tomatoes, but yeah, I think the audience score is a little bit lower than what it's accustomed to. I thought it was still really good.
Okay. I mean, that's like freaking The Boys season 4 right now.
Yeah.
So, whatever, man. Just watch what you like. I feel like
Yeah.
everyone hates freaking like everything nowadays.
I
From
know.
Superman to The Bear to The Boys to
Everyone's
Star Wars.
I just got
My
something
goodness.
to complain about, man. It's like, and you could tell they're setting something up in The Bear. And that's all I'll say.
Yeah, okay.
And, like when you're setting stuff up and people feel like they don't get whatever it is they're trying to set up, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that was horrible." Everyone wants instant gratification,
Yeah.
and the fact that they got all 10 episodes right then and there, like, I'm complaining that I would have loved to do the weekly drop and see all the memes and like all the water cooler or coffee maker or whatever talk that you have like post new episode. You got none of that on The Bear. That I feel like that's really my only disappointment, is that they dropped all 10 episodes. I hate that.
Yeah, I could see that. Shoot.
It's probably like when
too.
you binge watch Reacher season 1.
Yeah, that was pretty insane.
Now that I've actually seen it, I was like, oh, I can see. I actually kind of binge watched too.
I never binge watched, but yeah, should not get spoiled. You get so excited, man.
Mm-hmm.
For me though, still trying to finish Condor. That's the next show I'm trying to finish because there's only 2 seasons.
Okay.
And MGM Plus, man, gotta utilize it.
True.
So that's the show I'm trying to finish. But one new thing I want to bring, I should have honestly been watching Beverly Hills Cop, but I forgot that I needed to watch it before the new one. Well, I watched a Nicolas Cage movie called It Could Be You.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. It's on Netflix. It's about one where he plays a cop. It's a romantic.
It's the one where he
comedy.
tips that waitress, right?
Yep. Tips the waitress with the lottery ticket winnings.
Yes. I remember that movie.
I was like, wow, this is a pretty good movie. The freaking wife in that movie is like the most annoying character I've seen in a long time.
Rosie
if
Perez?
you ever rewatch it. What was that?
Is it Rosie Perez?
Probably. I have to check. I don't know who the
I think it was Muriel Lang.
Yes, that yes.
Yeah, it's Rosie Perez.
Yeah.
She's
My
got that
goodness.
voice. She's from White Man Can't Jump.
Okay. I've seen I'm sure I've seen her in other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But that means she did a good job because holy crap, the way the movie plays out.
It was a good movie.
But it's a definitely interesting movie. It kind of takes me back to like the '90s romantic comedy era. You know, kind
They
of
need to
like
bring it
freaking
back, man.
right. Kind of like it doesn't have to be raunchy or anything like that. Kind of like that Tom Hanks Sleepless in Seattle Meg Ryan vibe. You know, something a
It
little
just needs to be
cozy
endearing.
romance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Need that back. Yeah, endearing romantic comedies. Need those back. Everything is like so negative now. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I would never freaking give my lottery tickets away. It's like, but it's Nicolas Cage, man. He's such a wholesome guy.
Oh man. You know, if we didn't already, obviously start our prep, I was like, man, we should have just done a weekly real podcast or a offshoot of just all rom-coms.
I know, dude. I bet there's 1,000 of them out
Yeah,
there.
we could dedicate an entire just
Whole
like side
podcast,
podcast to it. Yeah, like a different
just
show,
rom-coms.
just rom-coms. Come up with a slightly different format.
I wonder if someone has actually done it already.
I'm sure. I'm sure it exists, but I feel like we could do it better.
Yeah, possible. It's possible. Well, Ken, that's it for this week, and that's it for the soup du jour. Nice and tasty, not too salty. We like to keep things nice and fresh here on the soup du jour. But remember, next week. It's next week. Yes, okay. Next week, we're going to be covering Beverly Hills Cop. The fourth one? Is the fourth one, right?
Yes,
Axel
Axel
Foley.
F.
Axel F. Still don't know why they call it Axel F. I guess
Yeah.
maybe we'll find out.
Well, I'm hoping they reveal that
So-
in the movie. Well, I haven't seen it yet. It just got released today.
Right. So we'll watch that next week. But that'll be in about 1 week, right?
Yes, really 7 days.
Okay.
Okay, really. I mean, if you want to go into semantics, yeah, 1 week.
1 week. 7:30 though. Right?
Yes, 7:30.
So 7:30.
Yeah, yeah, 7:30.
All right, we'll see you guys next time on The Real.